February 22nd, 1861. Abraham Lincoln is on his way to Washington, D.C. to be inaugurated President of the United States. Knowing that the states are no longer united, and civil war could begin at any moment. When he makes a stop in Philadelphia to attend a flag-raising ceremony at Independence Hall, he goes inside to see the room where the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution were signed, the place where the United States of America was born. I am filled with deep emotion at finding myself standing here, in this place where were collected together the wisdom, the patriotism, the devotion to principle from which sprang the institutions under which we live. You have kindly suggested to me that in my hands is the task of restoring peace to the present distracted condition of the country. I can say in return, sir, that all the political sentiments I entertain have been drawn, so far as I have been able to draw them, from the sentiments which originated and were given to the world from this hall. I have never had a feeling politically that did not spring from the sentiments embodied in the Declaration of Independence. I have often pondered over the dangers which were incurred by the men who assembled here and framed and adopted that Declaration of Independence. I have pondered over the toils that were endured by the officers and soldiers of the army who achieved that independence. I have often inquired of myself what great principle or idea it was that kept this Confederacy so long together. It was not the mere matter of the separation of the colonies from the motherland, but that sentiment in the Declaration of Independence which gave liberty not alone to the people of this country, but I hope to the world for all future time. It was that which gave promise that in due time the weight would be lifted from the shoulders of all men. This is the sentiment embodied in that Declaration of Independence. Now, my friends, can this country be saved upon that basis? If it can, I will consider myself one of the happiest men in the world if I can help to save it. If it cannot be saved upon that principle, it will be truly awful. But if this country cannot be saved without giving up that principle, I was about to say I would rather be assassinated on this spot than to surrender it. Now, in my view of the present aspect of affairs, there is no need of bloodshed and war. There is no necessity for it. I am not in favor of such a course, and I may say in advance, there will be no bloodshed unless it be forced upon the government, and then it will be compelled to act in self-defense. My friends, this is a wholly unprepared speech. I did not expect to be called upon to say a word when I came here. I supposed I was merely to do something towards raising a flag. I may therefore have said something indiscreet. But I have said nothing but what I am willing to live by, and in the pleasure of Almighty God, die by. Assassination is on Lincoln's mind for a reason. He has just received a warning from Detective Alan Pinkerton that an attempt will be made on his life when he reaches Baltimore, Maryland. Although Pinkerton urges him to leave immediately to elude the conspirators, Lincoln refuses to break his commitment to attend the ceremony at Independence Hall. He now proceeds to the platform outside, where a crowd is waiting to watch him raise a flag with a newly added 34th star for the state of Kansas. Fellow citizens, I am invited and called before you to participate in raising above Independence Hall the flag of our country, with an additional star upon it. I propose now, in advance of performing this very pleasant and complimentary duty, to say a few words. I propose to say that when that flag was originally raised here, it had but 13 stars. I wish to call your attention to the fact that under the blessing of God, each additional star added to that flag has given additional prosperity and happiness to this country, until it has advanced to its present condition, and its welfare in the future as well as in the past is in your hands. Cultivating the spirit that animated our fathers, who gave renown and celebrity to this hall, cherishing that fraternal feeling which has so long characterized us as a nation, excluding passion, ill temper, and precipitate action on all occasions, I think we may promise ourselves that not only the new star placed upon that flag shall be permitted to remain there, to our permanent prosperity for years to come, but additional ones shall from time to time be placed there, until we shall number, as was anticipated by the great historian, 500 millions of happy and prosperous people. With these few remarks, I proceed to the very agreeable duty assigned me. Once a minister has prayed, Lincoln raises the flag above Independence Hall. One newspaper would report that when the broad bunting had reached the summit of the mast, it unrolled at once and blazed in the sunlight. At the same moment, the band struck up the Star-Spangled Banner, and a cannon ranged in the square sent up peal after peal. Lincoln would later say, "I could not help hoping that there was in the entire success of that beautiful ceremony at least something of an omen of what is to come." Although Lincoln would escape multiple plots against his life, he would ultimately be assassinated in 1865. On the way to be buried in Springfield, Illinois, his body is taken to Independence Hall, where mourners can pay their last respects. One of them would describe the scene this way: "Again we gathered about old Independence Hall. How changed the scene since first we welcomed him, whose form lay shrouded within its sacred walls. The shadow of the grave had fallen there. The nation's cradle was now its martyr's bier. I stood that night where first I had seen him on the bright morning of the past. The flag that rose so buoyantly at his bidding hung drooping from its mast, and those who then with cheers and enthusiasm responded to his fervent utterances now passed in mournful procession by his silent form. I thought of the hopes, the trials, the victories of the war, and of the declaration then made by Abraham Lincoln, how truly kept, but with what awful sacrifice now sealed. The Union was preserved, liberty to all secured, but he who had done so much to preserve that Union and to secure that liberty lay low in death. And in the stillness of the night, I seemed again to hear the solemn vow in the cause of freedom which he there had uttered. I would rather be assassinated on this spot than surrender it. I have said nothing that I am unwilling to live by, and if it be the pleasure of Almighty God, to die by."